When the right people come together at the right moment, when they care almost as much about winning as they do about each other, they can become the best of the best.
Welcome to the best soccer show, the best soccer show in the whole world.
Here we go! It's the best soccer show. Jason Davis and Jared Dubois doing weird hand things. No, not. Damn it, Jared! You've already made me step
Doing
in
hand
it.
stuff?
30 seconds into the show, when we're talking about hand
I didn't
stuff.
do anything.
I did
You
not.
said it.
I did not intend for that. You knocking your mic around. This is such Jared Dubois technique. You guys, if you
Don't
ever listen
deflect to me because you messed up your intro.
I didn't mess up. No, the intro was fine. Here we go.
Okay.
It's the best soccer show. Jason Davis, Jared Dubois. We're here.
Can you do
As
that?
we always, as we are most
Should we do more
Thursday
sight
nights.
bits? More sight bits on the podcast?
What is that? What's the purpose of that? Like, what's this supposed to look like?
I don't know. It's supposed to look cool.
Weird. If you do the shocker, I'm cutting this thing off. We're shutting it down. We're not.
I don't know what you're talking about.
No clue. No concept.
Nope.
We're live on a Thursday night. We are not on strike. Podcast presenters not going on strike today.
We don't
Jared.
write shit.
We don't get paid for shit either. Why would we go on strike? Nobody's paying us anyway. What are we going to negotiate for, Jared? Do you think AI could replace us? Do you think
Easily.
AI could replace? Yeah, easily, right?
Easily.
Wait.
You already did kind of one point, like, you saw what AI had to think of me. They didn't even know who I was.
That's right. And then when we called AI on it, AI was like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I thought Jared was dead." What was that? How many episodes back was that? I want to go back
It
and
was
listen
on the
to it
bonus show,
myself.
too, I think. I think it was on the
We did
bonus.
some on the bonus show too. Okay, so we're having a good time. We're happy. We're laughing. We're not on strike, despite the fact that the U.S. men's national team got knocked out of the Gold Cup last night. Jared, your feelings, sir?
I'm bummed, but not like heartbroken anyway. By the way, one of us is lagging. I don't know which one of us it is, but
Probably me. Yeah, I don't know.
it was. I'm bummed, but like I said, I'm not. I didn't have to drink myself to sleep last night. or anything.
This is the kind of analogy you love to employ. It's kind of like when you're dating somebody, but you're really not into them, but you don't really have the heart to break up with them, and they break up with you, and you're like, "All right."
No. I'll give a little bit slightly different if you want
Okay.
the Jay Rodis analogy. You're dating the chick you're kind of into, but the one you really like is still
This
available.
Is an inclusive
well,
podcast.
for me,
It's a person.
for me,
Okay, for you, yes.
So you're dating the chick just because like they're the one that's around and available, but you have your eye out on the other one, and she's available again. So it's like, okay,
You
I
know
have
what?
a breakup, but the
she's
one
in
I'm really
France.
into is available now.
No, but she's in France, and you know she's coming back from France eventually.
Mm.
But in the meantime, you have some time on your hands, right? And what are you going to do? Sit around and not date somebody? No, you're going to date somebody.
Figure things out, you know, like
Yeah,
have
It may-
some fun.
maybe it will work. Maybe something good will come out of it. You don't know. So you're
with
go
your
out
C
with
chick
somebody.
while you wait for your A check to come back.
That's not. Is that what we're
It's
doing?
the C team versus the A team, right?
I trust me. I understood exactly where you were going with that. I would also say that I am,
Which is why it doesn't hurt as bad either. Sorry.
right. Well, that's the analogy, right? I'm bummed, and I definitely had the anxious energy last night watching that game. Like I definitely felt like I was pissed. I didn't like it. I didn't like the way Panama was bossing the game, especially for the first half. I didn't like the U.S. couldn't finish their chances when they did get them. I didn't like that there obviously was a mistake on the offside trap. DeAndre Yedlin, or yeah, dude, like I didn't like any of that. I didn't like the way it ended, of course.
Full disclosure for me for my viewing for last night. Got to see the whole first half. Then I had to have a work dinner, and I didn't get to see the second half.
How important it was to you? How
But-
important was it to you?
What do you mean, the work dinner or the game?
I mean, I know
I don't
you
want to
have
get
go-
fired.
You have to go to a work dinner.
I had to go to a work dinner, but it was at a place that had TVs, but where we were at, we couldn't see. And then when the overtime started, they put it on the TV back there, so I got to watch the extra time, the shootouts in the first half. So I did not get to see the second half. Watch the highlights though.
You did. So you saw all the goals and the penalty shootout.
Yeah,
you
I
just
saw the
didn't
good
see-
parts.
I guess that's the good parts. I mean,
But I'm losing some context though. I did because I watched the highlights. I did see that while Jesus Ferreira got the goal in the extra time, missed a number of chances during the game.
he had a couple of very good chances. You know, I think
two
his
off
instincts.
the post or one off the post, one very close, one header.
One
that
very
could have been put away.
close. Yeah, a clear header, a clear-headed opportunity that he didn't put in the right place. And then I appreciate his instincts, and I don't remember when exactly it happened, but I appreciate his instincts where it was basically use the power of the cross and guide the ball to the far post. That's where the goalkeeper can't get is to that far post. He just too much angle, sort of like when you're playing pool and just a little too much
he
English.
seemed to remember that in the 105th minute, but he couldn't remember that as the first shooter in the shootout.
Yeah,
Get the ball to the far post.
Yeah, he a little too close to center, although a bunch of guys scored going down the middle. Right, that happened because goalkeepers vacate. In that particular case, you got a goalkeeper who didn't vacate. And I mean, it didn't stay center or whatever. Dived.
I always wonder
and saved the kick. And Christian Roldan. Remind me what happened on Roldan's penalty, because ultimately that's the one that set up.
Taken. I think it went. He got about halfway to the side. I think he thought he guessed right to which way the keeper is going to go. You know, when you think you have the keeper going the wrong way, you don't necessarily tuck it away. You're just tapping it to the other side. I think that's what happened there.
Okay.
Not a great penalty. Both his and Federer's were not great. But to be honest with you, they shouldn't have been in that position. Matt Turner makes a rough call, a rough play. He was in no man's land.
Hold on, you think that's on Matt Turner? Because I think that's on DeAndre Edlin. I don't think that's on Matt Turner.
The decision to come out is on Matt Turner.
No, sure it is. But what other option did he have?
Get there.
You think he's wait for a 1v1 where
you can just try to play the angle? And listen,
sure.
Is Matt Turner fantastic at playing angles and shot stopping?
He is very good at those things.
In general, I would rather have Matt Turner on an angle as a shot stopper than trying to win a 50-50 ball outside the box.
Right. Well,
you're damned if you do, damned if you don't. He's damned if you do, damned if you don't. But he goes for it, misses. He looks like a sweeper keeper gone wrong, and it's an easy tap in. But there's things went wrong ahead of him as well. But he comes up, makes amends for it by making a save in the shootout.
It was very annoying. And I don't remember the turnover. Somebody in the chat can remind me who turned the ball over that led to Karaskia finding the goal scorer. His name escapes me right now. What was annoying about that goal is it was a very dumb goal to concede after you had sort of dodged bullet after bullet, especially in the first half of that game, where Panama was just eating the United States up on the flanks. And, they came out in the system that they play, right? There wasn't anything surprising about the way that Panama played this game. They played with three at the back. They played with wingbacks high up the field. They just utilized the flanks. And obviously the United States plays a 4-3-3 that is narrow through midfield, that requires the fullbacks to make difficult choices. Do I go up and I help in the attack? Do I get caught out? Got caught. Brian Reynolds, by the way, was playing on fumes pretty much for the entire match. I think a lot of guys were. I think that was a factor in that game.
A lot of minutes in this tournament.
Yeah, a lot of minutes, and a lot of minutes for a team that had to play Sunday night 120 minutes and then go into that game on Wednesday 2,000 miles away.
I think only two changes to that lineup. Long for Neil and
Zendejas
for Zendejas.
did not play. After,
and Cowell for Gressel. 3 changes to the starting lineup.
Okay, but still, I mean, again. Jesus Ferreira played essentially every minute of not every minute of the tournament. He did come off at one point in one game, one of the 6-0s, but he played a ton of minutes. James Sands played, I think, every possible minute for the most part. I mean,
and the Jesus Ferreira, haters are going to still continue to hate, and I think that he's given them some reason to, even in this game as well, missing some chances, not taking some opportunities.
He's the only guy who scored a goal.
At the end of the day, Brandon Vasquez wasn't dangerous. Ferreira at a different position was still the more dangerous of the two, playing out of his normal spot.
If you want to do this, if we want to get negative on it, which is, again, understandable considering the loss and losing to Panama.
I want to do both.
It's never. Okay, but if we're going to be negative for a second, let's do that. Okay, Ferreira missed some chances. Vasquez wasn't dangerous enough. Cade Cowell, man, the guy puts himself in good positions. The guy
beats one,
looks.
doesn't beat two.
He beats one and then tries to beat 2 and 3 when he doesn't need to beat 2 and 3.
Lay it off, get the ball back in better position.
Lay it off, find a shot, do something. The only thing
if you've beaten one guy, there's a mismatch somewhere.
The only thing that Cade Cowell did that I was 100% on board with was the shot in the first 30 seconds that he rang off the post, which if he puts that away, it's a completely different game because it forces Panama to do
I love the U.S.'s game the first 10 minutes. I thought the pace was fantastic, but it was obvious it was never going to be sustainable at that rate.
No, absolutely not. You weren't going to press that high up the field all day. And again, phases of the game, let's press, let's get an opportunity, let's create problems for Panama, sure. But then again, once your energy level drops, and again, we've already pointed out the fatigue factor for this team, how much effort they had to put in just a couple days earlier, halfway across the country, 3/4 of the way across the country. I just don't know. And BJ Callahan took responsibility after the game for the first half. I think that you probably should have said, we know Panama loves their wingbacks. This is what Thomas Christensen does. This was like in the scouting report, right? It wasn't like, oh, we don't know what Panama does. It's in the scouting report. Why not play the 4-4-2 or play the 4-2-3-1?
I was going to say, what's the solution? But if the solution is changing up your whole formation, is that the right solution? Isn't there... Man,
I get it.
Going back and forth because there is some personnel missing that BJ Callan didn't have. He doesn't have Aiden Morris to go to. Who else left camp? Sorry, there's
Alan Sonora. Yeah. This again is part of the problem with that. Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, so he doesn't have as many strings to pull. The fact that the same midfield three were starting again after 120 minutes. That's a lot of work. James Sands played most of the minutes in this tournament.
Yes.
I think it's a lot to ask, and I think maybe there was a solution somewhere in there.
Hold on. Are you suggesting that it's too much to ask of them mentally to change their shape to respond to Panama after they played 120 minutes of exhausting soccer against Canada a couple days before? Is that what you're kind of saying?
Potentially. I mean, that's one of the things you could say. I'm not sure what the solution was to the Panama problem. How do you get width and still play your style of 4-3-3?
They got out-coached by Christensen. You could argue that, okay, but also you could say, we believe our system within the structures we have already drilled 1,000 times will allow us to be successful in certain areas, right? If the United States, and again, maybe you could have added up the math and said 120 minutes against Canada, tired midfield, exhausted fullbacks, et cetera, maybe we don't play the way we usually do because it's a recipe for disaster. But that means kind of accepting that you're not confident, right? And I think that this is one of the mentalities that BJ was pushing the entire tournament, is that we're confident in our way of playing soccer. You and I, after the fact, results-based analysis can go, what the hell, man? Why didn't you adapt to that? But for the U.S. Men's national team staff and the coaches and the players, we're supposed to dictate on home soil against Panama, not the other way around, right? So unless you believe that the 5-3-2, the 3-5-2 is inherently superior in a matchup against a 4-3-3, which you can argue that, then you don't change anything, at least to start. You test out, how does our system work against theirs? Now, it shouldn't have taken a half to fix it. It shouldn't, and they did fix it. They did change it. Right? They did make a formation change because they knew they were getting murdered. And how different was that second half, even with their energy level maybe not being where you would want it to be?
Yeah, I think in hindsight, you could say, I when the lineup came out, I remember thinking, okay, that's right. Outside of the Aaron Long choice, I thought that was the right lineup based off of the things people have shown over the tournament so far.
You would have started Miazga because Neil was not available.
I would have started Miazga over Long, yes.
Okay.
I thought Miazga looked good in the previous games. I think he's looking well with his club team.
I think the idea is that you
club team.
Don't want. I mean, Miles has some decent wheels, but I think the idea is that you want a guy who's maybe a little bit more. The idea that the Long is more mobile. I'm not saying he's not that. Well, I'm not saying he's the same player he was before his injury, but one of the things he was certainly known for during his career, and I don't have a clock on him, and I don't know what the stats and the numbers say, but one thing he's been known for is his pace, his speed as a center back. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I don't think that's there anymore, though. I don't think there's much difference between him and Miazga in that regard at this point. And I think Miazga is the more informed center back based on club form, and I thought he's looked better in the minutes he's gotten in the Gold Cup so far over Aaron Long. So that was the only thing. Outside of that, I think Cade Cowell played his way into this with the substitute minutes, the energy that he was bringing, the willingness to attack and take guys on. I saw why he put it in there. I also saw why he put Federer out wide. You know, there's been, like, how do you get both he and Vasquez on the field at the same time? Is that the best thing to do? Zendejas isn't available. In hindsight, though, in a effort to play our game at a 4-3-3 and get that pace on the wings up front, you got exposed by the other team when the ball would turn over, the speed of the wingbacks going the other direction was exposed, and I think that's where. And like I said, wasn't advocating it before the game, but in hindsight, Julian Gressel or Jesus Ferreira probably would have been a good choice, or over Cade Cowell. One of those two wings, get more cover with a guy that can play both ways. He's very similar to someone like Areola in that way, in that he can do the defensive work and still deliver on the front half and the front end of the game. Maybe even Jordan Morris and Julian Gressel on the two wings, as unsexy as that is. If we wanted to be pragmatic against what Panama was going to do, looking backwards now, those two moves may have been better.
Okay, again, the United States, there's this tension that is kind of present among the people responding to this. The tension is, are we supposed to beat every CONCACAF opponent, regardless of situation, regardless of our roster? If so, this is an absolute failure, right? Or if you look at the context of this game, and it's not to excuse defeat, right? And mistakes were made. I'm saying they were, but if you look at the context of this game and you consider the roster and you consider the fact, lots of people, Paul Kennedy was scathing in his review of the national team after this game at Soccer America. And I'm a fan of Paul Kennedy. I like that guy. But he's like, this is ridiculous. How does Major League Soccer, because 16 of the whatever players were Major League Soccer players, how can it not produce enough talent to play better than that against Panama in a Gold Cup semifinal? And, you have to consider the other team. This Panama team is way more familiar with one another than this U.S. team.
It's somewhat fair, but at the same time, that rationale that Paul Kennedy is putting out there doesn't account for the fact that on any given day, a team can have a bad game. Like, you can just have a bad game.
Sure.
When you look at those two lineups, I still think the U.S. team is more talented, if that's what he's arguing. I think it's a more talented team, but
I think he's saying
I don't think the chemistry's there. Like what is this is many of the Pano's best players that they could put out, and sometimes that is more important than talent. How many times have we seen the best golden generation, our team that had the most talent ever in qualifying? We didn't get results sometimes. Because other teams sometimes just have better chemistry and have a better outlook. And then sometimes coaching decisions are better. So we talked about the negative. Do you want to spend some time on the positive? Let's balance this out, because I don't want to be one of those shows that just comes on here and yells about the things that went wrong or stuff like that. The Gold Cup was an opportunity for many players on the fringe to try to make a name for yourself, try to get their hat tossed in the ring for future consideration. So back to front. Obviously, Matt Turner, we know he's locked in. What?
No, this is exactly what I was talking about. By now, we should be at a point where the baseline average American MLSer should be able to play competent soccer and consistently beat everyone in CONCACAF, excluding Mexico, Jamaica, and Canada. That is an insane statement to me. That is just, it's an insane statement. It completely ignores all kinds of variables that go into any match, but especially this match. It's okay. Again, look, I understand frustration.
Now, if you want to put that same message out there and say USA should be able to put out the most talented lineup against any team outside of at any time, okay, I can get with that. But to say the result should be there every time,
right?
I don't know, man.
That's and again, I don't think that people and maybe specifically KY718, I don't know. I don't think people are valuing enough the familiarity that other teams in this competition have with one another, right? And even, so we're pointing out Jamaica, right? The U.S. didn't play all that well against Jamaica, ends up getting a Brandon Vasquez goal, salvages a draw, right? We talked about maybe not being great in that game. The very first game that pretty much anybody in this team had played with one another.
Only 2 good games played for the U.S.
Ever, right? These guys basically had never played together before in a competitive environment. Not saying that to excuses everything. By the way, Jamaica, for the most part, has been together, except for adding Damari Gray and maybe putting together Antonio Gray and Bailey and like some elements of that. But that's essentially a team that has been working together. They might have been successful, but they know each other. And the same thing goes for Panama. And we're talking about teams that are traditionally at least competent in CONCACAF, right? The United States lost to Panama in Panama City during World Cup qualifying with a team that was clearly more talented than this one. And the venue has some element to play in all of that. But again, it's not to excuse losing or to say that the United States shouldn't have done better. But let's not go to an extreme that basically paints every player in this pool as some sort of disaster, undeserving of whoever wearing the shirt.
Can we be the official podcast of rationalism? please?
Is that a thing? Rationalism. What is
Can
that?
Can we be the like?
Isms
It's
are
okay.
scary.
Things can be two things in the world. Things can be two things.
Yeah,
It can be a poor performance and still have the more talented team on the field. You could have the least talented team and have a better performance on the field. There's a lot of things that are happening here, but let's get to Kodak Jackson. Right
You also can have the more talented team on the field, throw them into a tournament, and not see them play all that great as a team because, again,
random
reps
pieces
matter.
on a chessboard. Kodak Jackson says, "Who earned a look with the A team?" Do you want to go as far as saying who made a look for their A team, or you just want to say higher, like stock up, stock down?
Yeah, again, because I also think part of the reaction to this performance is kind of overstating where any of these players are relative to the A team. Because the A team, like, okay, we can argue: are they deep? Are they not? Are they kind of deep? Do they
Just
have depth?
higher than they were coming in.
Right. Okay. Fine. Let's do that. You want to start back to front? Let's do back to front.
Matt Turner, exactly where he was before. Still the number one
until somebody starts playing Premier League soccer, top 5 league soccer somewhere else.
Or he starts looking like a guy that can't keep up from playing on the bench or being on the bench.
Sure. He looks okay. I mean, shot stopping is not his issue. Okay.
Okay. Here's the thing. I will give that he has booted a lot of balls out of the back in 2023, but he may be told that could be coach's direction. It looks at times that BJ Count in particular, more than Anthony Hudson, has told him to bypass the midfield. And I don't know why that is, because you saw in earlier games with Anthony Hudson, he was playing a ball in the back pretty regularly and looked pretty good doing it.
Against I think it was Jamaica. Did we talk about? I don't know. No, it was during the Nations League. One of those matches, maybe it was against Mexico.
There was one match where it was a game plan.
You were not
could tell.
Playing out of the back at all, and I was interested. That was interesting to see. And I don't think Matty is perfect. Is very good picking out somebody 50 yards downfield or 60 yards downfield and catching them. I don't think he's good at that.
No, he's no Nick Romano.
He's not. Yeah, he's getting better with the ball at his feet and being comfortable playing out of the back. But I don't think that
is there
those
any American keeper ever better with the ball at his feet than Nick Romano?
Not off the top of my head. There are guys from the 90s that I'm not very familiar with that people will tell you were really good. Matt Reese,
90s people didn't play out of the back in the 90s.
Matt Reese, not necessarily a guy with a national team resume to speak of. How many caps did Matty Reese get?
I don't know, but he got 2 or 3 MLS Cup finals. But I'm not talking
about his MLS career. I'm talking about his national team career because we're talking about. But
he was in the golden age of Friedel and Keller.
He was. I was told a story about Matt Reese playing soccer, tennis in the locker room and wiping the floor with everybody.
Really?
While doing it naked. That's a story that I heard about Matt Reese.
So. Well, the secret was he was playing with 3 balls.
That's right. Multiple
Who can keep
balls
up with
on
that?
the table.
No. All right, so in the back, Matt Turner. The only person that got a cap was Sean Johnson. No stock up, no stock down. Exactly where he was before.
No.
Likely number 2 to number 3. He'll be on every world.
Not even worried about talking about Sean Johnson. Love the guy.
I would love to see Gaga get one of those St. Kitts games or something like that. Didn't get it though, but Gaga.
Who? Oh, Gaga. Yeah, it would have been nice, but
lady.
Yeah, that one. Okay, so back line.
Across the back. I would say Brian Reynolds started the tournament with his stock up. I thought he looked really good, especially against the lesser competition. I think he was exposed a little bit more at the higher levels the last 2 games against Canada and Panama, losing the ball in bad positions.
Absolutely.
I think he was trying to do a lot, kind of like the Kate Cowell disease. So I would say he's flat on the tournament. I still think he's probably the most legitimate third choice right back that is out there right now. I would put him over DeAndre Yedlin.
So Dest, Scally, and then Brian Reynolds. Is that what you're
telling me
right now?
Are you going to put Reggie Cannon above him? Are you going to put Shaq Moore above him?
Yeah, it's a good point.
It falls a bit right there. There's a clear tier 1 of those 2, and I think Brian Reynolds now would probably be a decent number 3.
Yeah, I think we could say that Brian Reynolds, if anything, put himself in the continuing conversation about a third choice right back. Should we ever need to call up our third choice right back? Generally, that's going to be through injury or whatever.
Yeah.
Right. You prefer not to have to do that. But if we need a third choice right back, Brian Reynolds. Okay.
Well, it's most likely going to be a third choice right back because, well, maybe not. We'll get to the left side here in a second. So at the center back position, I think overall I still think Jalen Neal's stock is up. I think he had one bad game. I think his stock is up, but he had a lot more room to grow than a lot of these
of
other
course.
guys.
He was starting at a 0, basically. I think
the guy got 3 starts in a club in a top level competition. As a 19-year-old,
he improved his stock, such as it is, but he is still a long way from being a first choice.
Everyone
first
starts
team.
somewhere.
No, I'm just pointing that out. Stock up on Jalen Neal, but we're not talking about him being Apple or.
I would say when you look at Miles Robinson, Aaron Long, Matt Miazga, the other center backs that are there, he's further along at a younger age than any of those guys were. We weren't talking about any of those guys.
Maybe sure.
Level,
I think that's probably fair, but he also is behind. Chris Richards and Austin Trusty, and I would put him behind Mike McKenzie, and all those guys
are all of that. I agree with that
in their mid-20s.
That's why I wanted to have the different conversation, the one that was put in the chat. Like, we're not talking about who's ready for the A squad. We're talking about whose stock went up. And right. I will also say with Jalen Neal, because he has such good ball distribution ability, the ability to break lines with a pass, and he's playing in LA, a team that wants to break lines through the middle they want to get the ball into Brugman and Puja's feet as fast as possible. He's going to get a lot of reps at doing exactly something that he's good at.
Right. Yeah. I definitely think that there were several moments. I think I yelled at Miles Robinson a couple of times.
I still think Miles Robinson is one of the better players of the tournament. I think overall, I thought he showed well. We know he's coming back from injury. He wasn't able to do 90 minutes until these last couple of games. So he's not all the way there, but I still think a small tick up from where he started the tournament.
Okay. And by the way, just to give a shout to our man Nicholas Murray, Josh Winder, who's making that move to Benfica in the same age group as Jalen Neal. Just one to keep an eye on. Okay.
Never go to Portugal.
Hasn't been called up or anything into a senior. Hasn't played for the senior team, right? Oh, did he? He didn't play in January, right?
I don't think so. I don't believe so.
All right. Just keep an eye on Josh Winder.
I'm getting the U20 World Cup a little bit confused as well, but I don't think
real quick. Yeah, he did play in the U20 World Cup. Josh Winder did. Yes. The Miles Robinson question. Now we already kind of said Aaron Long has lost a step or two since his injury. He's not the same player. He's not the guy that got looked at by West Ham, and he getting national team call-ups kind of gets people frustrated for that reason. Do you have any concern, right? And I'm not trying to hate on the guy, but do you have any concern that Miles Robinson won't be the same player in the long run because of the same injury?
Absolutely. There's no reason to think. I mean, I would say the odds are not in his favor in the sport in general, coming back from these long-term muscle injuries. So. There's also guys that
it's an Achilles injury that he's
Achilles tendon, not a muscle.
Yeah.
I think it's possible, but I think didn't Aaron Long have Achilles and also an ACL?
I don't think so.
Was it just Achilles?
Somebody check up on the injury history of Mr. Aaron Long.
I remember him getting sidelined twice, but maybe I'm wrong.
No, I don't think so.
Overall, I think Aaron Long's stock is down. I think it was always going to be down. I think he's at the point. For me, this should be his last true international competition.
I think that's probably fair.
Unless something really changes.
Hey, look, and I understand the guy plays some really good soccer in the home of Nicholas Supensexy, Nicholas Suberling. I know that he is. Very important to what's happening there. I respect the guy, has kind of always hustled to try to make his career work, going all over the place in Europe before coming back to MLS. Matt Miazga, I don't need Matt Miazga. I don't need Matt Miazga.
I still think, though, if we're just talking up or down, I think he's up for the tournament. I don't think you? I do. I thought that in the minutes he was asked to play, you don't hold
the Schaffelberg goal against him. You don't hold some of these.
Honestly, I don't hold the Schaffelberg goal against him because Byron Reynolds lost the ball in bad position. Jesus Ferreira should have intentionally fouled him and didn't.
Okay.
And then he gave him a mismatch of her speed, and when the guy was already going full speed, and he's having to come across. Exactly. And it's just an unfortunate deflection. Now, I think Miazga was not in no way perfect, and I don't think he's the biggest stock up of anyone else. But we're just saying who's up or down for the tournament. Okay. I think he's slightly up.
Yep. He's up a tick.
Like Miles Robinson. It's not great, but it's up, I think.
Okay. He's up a tick. Okay, fair. He's up a tick, but I guess I didn't have a lot of expectation. It's not that I think Matt Miazga is a bad player. I just don't know that he's a national team level player anymore at this point.
I think that covers the center backs. Left back, we have Tolkien got the early minutes in the tournament. DJ Jazzy Jones got the ones in the later.
I think it's incomplete on Tolkien. I don't know we can really give the kid. Do you want to give?
I agree. No, I would put him flat right now. He didn't have enough to show.
He had Jamaica, and
yeah, but it wasn't enough to show really what he could do over consistent minutes. So I would put him flat right now. DJ Jazzy Jones' stock is probably up higher than anyone else on this team in this tournament.
I think that's probably fair. I think he looks good out there. I think that he's dangerous.
Is he naturally left or naturally right?
I'm being told he's naturally right-footed, but he plays a good left-footed ball.
The fact that I have to wonder that by watching him, you look at sometimes it's like, why wouldn't he serve that ball with that foot? But then other times he does serve the ball with his off foot, and it's like it looks really good. So it's interesting. It's interesting in he and Scally, two backs that could probably play inverted pretty easily and show well on both sides. It gives coaches a lot of options, and at the end of the day, that could be the deal breaker why he gets called up and someone else doesn't.
This is what I'll say about DeJuan Jones. So I really enjoyed watching him play. I liked him a lot. I'm glad he got this opportunity. He's 26, and as much as I'm still the open-minded guy who says if you need to go to an MLS player in certain positions and they're your best option, I got no problem with that. You at this point, if he's not going to a higher level, if we don't have DeJuan Jones, and that might even be Belgium, right? That might even be Austria. I'm not necessarily limiting this to like top 5. But if DeJuan Jones isn't playing at a higher level in the next year or two, I just don't know. Like after, and again, it's Robinson and it's maybe Scally flipping over, it's Dest flipping over. It's who else? Who else is there at left back for me? What am I missing in the pool?
I mean, you have potentially you have Jonathan Gomez, potentially George Bello.
Jonathan Gomez isn't ready. I'm not even gonna worry about
George
Jonathan
Bello
Gomez.
Experiments in play right now.
By the way, George Bello apparently
eventually it's Tolkien.
Looking at an Austrian team. I think George Bell, I saw that today.
Eventually it's Tolkien, but I think right now. So I would say
it's possible he could go, by the way. DeJuan Jones, it's possible he could find a place in Europe. I just think he needs to elevate. And somebody pointed out he's a little bit maybe a little sloppy with the ball at
I can
times.
see him the Denmarks and the Belgiums of Europe, I can see him that. I can see that for sure. An attacking league like the Eredivisie that isn't so worried about the defensive side.
Yeah, maybe.
I don't want to play him out to admit he's not a good defender either. I think he's a decent defender as well. The age thing, 26, he's still in his prime though. Now maybe teams want to invest a bit.
I know. All I'm saying is that he's not a player that you can wait around to get a lot better. Like if we're talking, his stock is absolutely up after this tournament. I don't have any issue saying that. I just know that if you're talking Tolkien, there's so much more room for improvement for Tolkien than there might be for DeJuan Jones, who I think is still a good player. But at 26, again, what is that? Where is his ceiling? Is he already there? Does he have? It's not developmental years anymore, right? It's just a matter of sharpening his edge.
You can say though, the dude is a freaking athlete. The
Absolutely.
guy is a thoroughbred, man.
I think his dad was a cornerback at Michigan State.
Yeah, they were saying that in one of the broadcasts. Yeah. Like the dude is in shape. He's got great speed. He's got good game awareness. And you saw the ball that was served into Brandon Vasquez. They weren't all like that, but the fact that he could do that, and perhaps with his off foot from what we're seeing, that's a fantastic ball. That ball might get him a contract, to be honest with you.
Maybe. Okay. Let's we hit everybody who's
that's on the defense, yeah.
I mean, Yedlin, I'm not going to worry about. We don't need to worry about.
Barely any minutes.
So let's go to the midfield then. And I think, should we even bother with Aiden Morris?
Just the three.
Just the three? Just the three that played the bulk of the minutes.
I think Sonora. I'll say this. I think Sonora's stock went down. I was high on him going in. Yeah. He only got a couple chances to show. Didn't look like he was on. I'm not sure why he left. Was an injury. Maybe he was carrying a knock through some of those games that we were.
I think it was watching. Which, by the way, makes it really tough, right? Because you're saying stock down on a guy who maybe was playing injured, right? And by the way, there roster construction wise, and I know Jordan Morris picked up his knee issue in the first game. Everybody wanted to hate on Jordan Morris after that performance last night. There were no other options. I don't think Jordan Morris plays unless he has to in that match last night, which I think explains a lot of his lack of effectiveness. And I'm not saying
Dejas is not available.
He's not an A-team player, Jordan Morris, anymore. So I'm not going to worry. I'm not going to waste too much mental energy caring about it. But this idea of like, oh, what a trash pick of Jordan Morris in this team. Jordan Morris is certainly this level of player at this point in his career. He just got hurt in the first game, and it's really hard to know what kind of...
He gets hurt a lot of games.
He does. He does. That's fair.
Of the midfield, I think James Sands is maybe second or third on the
Oh, by the way,
list
Jordan, to not to hate on Jordan Morris, he came up. He had the header that went down to Ferreira for the volley. So
well played.
he won that ball.
made his penalty as well.
Yes, did that.
James Sands probably maybe second or third highest stock up, I think, over the course of the tournament. I don't think he was infallible, but I do think, there was a tackle last night from behind where he made a beautiful, well-timed tackle. I think he looked the part. I don't know that I still, once again, we're saying stock up. I don't think James Sands has a place at the A squad level at this point. I think he's knocking on the door if Kevin Acosta can't be in the team.
Well,
though.
So Acosta is maybe in a 26-man roster. I think at this point, you're talking about rotating units. I mean, look, you do need bodies, and if you are fatigued and you have yellow card suspensions in a tournament, you have that concern. But I think if you're talking about a one-off, you got Yunus Musa to cover for Tyler Adams. If you I'm not saying it's perfect, but I think I would slide Yunus Musa to the 6 before I would say throw on a James Sands, right?
Yeah.
A lot of that has to do with progression of the ball, because I think James Sands is a very competent defender, and I think he's a smart player, but I don't think he has instincts to make the sort of progressive passes.
I think he is a good he's a good man tracker, and he's good at playing the passing lanes. I think that's where I see a lot. I think he's instinctually, he has good positioning. I think he's prone to carrying the ball too much. He's prone to a sloppy pass, and he's prone, I think, to maybe one mental lapse here and there.
We're all prone to a sloppy
But
thing.
That being said, even with all that, he's probably second or third highest.
Sloppy. We all get sloppy sometimes. Why are you being so mean about the sloppy?
And I go back and forth on second or third most high stock up, because the other one for me is Georgi Mihalovic. And I think he is a lot more... Well, go ahead.
No, I mean, you're kind of moving up the field. I was going to talk about Busio. I thought we were going to talk about Busio before you go to Mihalovic, but
They're both midfielders. What's the problem?
Sure, they are. Okay. Go ahead.
Because it was a natural segue for those of us that do radio. You should know segues are a thing where you naturally move from one thing to the next. I was talking about second and third. I was talking about second and third, so I wanted to talk
alone. I work alone. Okay, so I don't have to deal with people like you stepping on my thoughts. Okay, go ahead.
So like Chuck Blazer, I enjoy a good segue. And what I was saying is, the conversation for me for second or third most stock up is between James Sands and Georgi Mihalovic. And what I'll say is Georgi Mihalovic's performance was a little bit more volatile than Sands. I think Sands were more even on performance, but when I think Georgie's highs were higher and his lows were lower than James Sands.
That's fair.
But that's the nature of his position, too. He's going to try the lower percentage thing sometimes because you want him to try to expose weaknesses, thread passes.
Yeah.
And that means at times it's going to lead to losing the ball or a counter attack or something like that. But when it comes through, it's very impressive.
I actually think that Gianluca Busio had a better tournament than Georgi Mihalovic did on the whole. I mean, I don't know that there's a big gap there, and I think it's really hard to judge in part because of the two minnows that they play.
I just don't understand Busio's game.
What don't you understand about it?
He seems like a guy that wants to advance the ball with the ball at his feet, but he's not fast with the ball at his feet. He's not.
Okay.
He's comfortable with the ball at his feet, but when you watch someone like Musa,
it's important,
and you see the rate that he's able to go, Busio, guys catch up to him all the time. He can't pull away with the ball.
Okay, I see.
That's my issue. And his instincts are right. His touch is right. The movements that he makes are right. I just don't think he's as good. I don't think he's a good enough player to play the style he's trying to play. Okay. Maybe that's unfair for me. I don't know.
I think, again, trying to tease out stock up, stock down, particularly for the midfield and particularly for the guys who didn't play against Jamaica, is tough. The quality of the opponent against St. Kitts and Nevis and Trinidad and Tobago was trash. Obviously, Canada was a much tougher game, and I have to go back and look at the stats and see how that played out. Obviously against Panama, they were getting just absolutely mauled in midfield because they weren't involved really at most points of the game, and they didn't have enough possession in the first half. In particular, things got better. I don't know. I think
still
that
Buzio stock up though for the tournament.
Okay, I think. Okay, so here to this point, right? And I think this is a false narrative, a false question. Luka over Buzio, and I think Luka's massively overrated, exposed last camp. I don't think Luka Della Torre has to worry about Gianluca Buzio right now. And that doesn't mean that Gianluca Busio's stock isn't up. And I think based on the fact that people are kind of unclear on Busio and his future after being more of a part-time player with Venezia in the second division in Italy, I think there was nowhere to go for Busio except up as long
Tanner Tessman in this camp.
As long as he didn't make a ton of mistakes. And I don't think he made a lot of mistakes. And I think he showed more bite than maybe I expected.
I think that's fair. I think that's fair. I think it's fair. But yeah, in terms of, and that was originally a question by Kodak Jackson in the chat, Busio or Luca De La Torre, it's not even a question for me. Luca De La Torre is, I'm trying to think what the way, he's like a, I was gonna say like an Indian motorcycle, like cool Indian motorcycle. It's like, it's not a Harley. It's not gonna. It's not a speed bike like a katana or something like that. Like, it is a cool ass bike that's a bit elegant and that, like, when you see a dude on an Indian, it's like, oh, that guy knows what he's doing. Like, he's not.
I think you're giving Luca too much credit right now.
Really?
But okay.
I like his style of play.
I think you have. I think you have a man crush on Luca, which is fine. Sure. It's fair. I mean, again, I'm not here to tell you that your love is wrong. But I also think it's a false equivalency here, and maybe you said that as well.
Luca and Busio is not. It's Busio or Musa. That's the comparison.
Sure. Johnny Cardoso came up at some point in the chat too. I would take
Cardoso over Sands right now, probably.
Over Sands.
Okay. Well, he's been tested at a higher level in the Nations League. And just don't forget, there was a time where Sands got some good minutes, and we did not like the way he looked a year ago in some of these other tournaments.
Sure.
That looked out of depth at times.
That's fair. Okay. I think that Sands probably needs to go back to Europe before we're really going to start considering whether or not he could make it into the A team. That is a fact for me. Now, okay. So in terms of Mihalovic, real quick.
Okay.
I'm a big fan of Georgi Mihalovic. I like his game a lot. I think he had some good moments, and I think he had some pretty poor moments. And I say probably his stock is up, but I didn't come out of this tournament thinking, yeah, good job, Georgi. You really grabbed that opportunity. Like, that's where I feel Georgi Mihalovic is. And I also think that, if you are committed to playing Georgi as a midfielder, and after we saw the Nations League with Gio Reyna in that spot, I understand that there might be a place in the system for him now when there wasn't before, when they were trying to shoehorn him as a winger. But I don't think he gives you anywhere near the sort of dynamism that Gio gives you, and so it's hard for me to think about it.
Gio's worth shoehorning the system into having a more number 10 style player because of what he can do. Mihalovic's level isn't worth pulling an Adams, McKinney, or Musa off the field.
You don't see,
unless you're chasing the game 20 minutes left.
And maybe he'll level up in Holland this year, but you don't see Georgie get the ball and think, oh shit, what's going to happen? What is he going to do? What pass he's going to find? Who's he going to dribble? And I don't necessarily need everybody to leave people in the dust the way that Eunice or Gio do, but I need them to do something that's a little bit more dynamic, a little bit more. I just want to see Georgie be aggressive in a way that I don't know that he was aggressive enough in this tournament.
But what I would like to see, though, and I think Zendejas suffers from this from a little bit too, and not to give excuses, I think both Mihalovic and Zendejas are better with better pieces around them. I think they both could be. I think they both suffer for the level of quality around them.
Okay, that's fair. I think that's probably fair.
And I think I'd like, and one of the reasons why I would like to see them tested a little bit with the A squad a little bit more, and know for sure what their depth is.
Man, that's a wild sort of just like get out of jail free card for those guys, right? Isn't it like, well, you weren't real good with the C team, but if you were with the A team, we think you would be really good. Let's keep giving you a shot. Maybe Zendejas took too much on his shoulders in this tournament. Maybe he thought,
when I say that, I'm not saying you start him at the. I'm saying you bring him into the squad, see what he looks like in training with these guys and stuff like that.
Okay.
Because Mihalovic has value even at the A squad level. He's probably closer to getting called in for an A squad camp than a lot of the players we talked about so far, because there is a need late in the games to have a person that can do things up top with the ball. And after Reyna, who you have right now in that squad that fills that role?
Things are stretched out. You're isolated. By the way, Pulisic is perfect in that situation, but by the time you get to that point in the game, he may be cooked.
And people are going to say Brendan Aronson, but Brendan Aronson is a different player than Reyna and
Brendan Aronson is not a with the ball player. No. He's not a with the ball player. No. He's a run off the ball player. He will play you the one touch, and then he'll make the run and get in behind and get on the end of something, but he is not that guy. So yeah, okay. So let's move on to the forward line then. Beyond, I mean, you already mentioned Zendejas. I guess we could just say,
Yeah, very disappointing. Stock down, like one of the biggest ones, and that surprised me. I was telling you going into this tournament, I really felt that this was going to be his team. He was going to be the leader on this team, the guy that was going to be ready to go, the threat, and you saw flashes of it. But he just looked like he was in his head too much, man. He had a case
Yeah,
of the
for
Pulisic
sure.
from last year, where it's just like, I'm the
Oh.
guy, so I got to do too much.
I forgot to tell you. Are you not up to date on this?
What's
let
that?
Let me just play this real quick. So we're going to talk about Christian's move to AC Milan here in a second. But since you're mentioning his name, I feel obligated to tell you that in front of the media today in Milan, he said, when asked about the pronunciation of his name, that it's supposed to be Pulisic.
Now, the actual quote, by the way, is, given we're so close to Croatia, we should probably say Pulisic. Now,
Pulisic.
that being said, growing up, the dude was Pulisic.
Yeah, he was, which is why, and I had a very intense moment on the radio. I wasn't I wasn't the target, so it was fine with me. But it was very funny at the end of my show today. Jared, you know about my show, right?
Oh, you know about it.
My radio show that I do by myself, and it's
Yes.
a glorious experience every day.
Sorry to saddle you with anchors.
I was getting ready to pass the show, get ready in my show, and go. We were going to go on the next show. And we do a little crosstalk. It was me, Joe Tollison, and Eric Winalda. So first, I was like, "Yeah, I can talk about the Gold Cup, right?" And Eric Winalda was like, "No, we're going to talk about how I've been saying Pulisic forever, and I'm right." And then
That is the
Joe
most Eric
Tollison,
Winalda thing I can think of him say.
Joe Tollison pointed out that when he was coming up with the national team and actually becoming a thing, right? They asked U.S. Soccer, how does he say his name? And U.S. Soccer, through the illustrious Michael Cameraman, provided an audio clip of Christian Pulisic saying Christian Pulisic, not Pulisic. So
Yeah, we all know what the proper Croatian pronunciation is.
no, we
but
don't. Not really. We can approximate it, but
Just
not
like,
really.
to share, and we've talked about this before on the show. Like, my dad growing up wasn't Dubois; he was Du Bois.
Yeah.
Americans, we kill these names, and then one day we find out that our family is actually named something else.
we have friends in the neighborhood, hang out a lot, kids play together. Their last name, I'm not going to put their last name on the radio or on the show rather, but their last name looks like it could be French. And the wife has said a number of times, I really wish he pronounced it in the French way and not in the ugly,
Well, trust me, when your name is phonetically Du Bois,
I know.
you figure it out real quick.
Right. So I was like,
Seventh grade is tough.
I said, hey, my good friend, Jared Dubois, says his dad changed the pronunciation of his name. You are more than welcome. He's like, I don't know. My parents would like that. I was like, all right, man,
Well,
do
technically, my
whatever.
dad didn't. His drill sergeant in the army.
Well,
did.
okay,
And
but he went with
it was like,
it
whoa,
after
that
the
sounds sexier than what I said.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, forward. So we said Zendaya stock down. I think there's gonna be a lot of down in this area of the field. To be honest with you, I don't know that there's an up. I think Kate Cowell's up. I think Kate Cowell's
No,
up.
come on. Don't
I
be
think
like
he's
that.
up.
Ferreira's up. It's just
Is he?
whether or not. Yes.
What did he
it's
show
whether-
you that you didn't already know about him?
Okay, but that's the thing. Like, I think that you can't argue. Okay, well, you're saying that he's level. He didn't move at all. The meter
I
didn't
knew
move
he could
on
score
Jesus
against
Ferreira.
like poor teams.
Okay, all right. I think that's
I'll say this: the one
harsh.
thing, the one thing I'll say that maybe puts him up in my ability is I got the chance to see him play different positions.
He is. This is why his stock is up for me. It's not the hat tricks against minnows, against tiny island nations or whatever. It's not even really the goal against Panama, which I think is well taken. I don't care if he hit it with his shin or not. The guy found the net off a full volley, off a header. When the team really needed a goal. I think my estimation of Jesus Ferreira went up because he was adaptable, because he does a lot of things off the ball that I don't know all of our forwards do, right? I don't think Ricardo Pepi's a great defender from the front. I'm not saying that's a deal breaker for him being in the team.
He's decent.
And he's still number 2 behind Balogun. I don't think we've seen enough of Balogun to know how he's going to be in that role. And neither of those guys is slipping out to the wing if you need that at any point. And I don't know. I just, again, I'm not putting Jesus Ferreira above the A-team strikers. I'm not even putting him in the A-team necessarily, because I would rather have a change of pace guy like a Vasquez who's a target player rather than a 5'8" forward.
That being said,
around.
Pepe and Balogun are going to be very similar in that regard. The question is, which change of pace? If you're only bringing 3 strikers, Do you want the change of pace of a classic 9, which Brandon Vasquez, that way he took that header goal from DJ Jazzy Jones, that is the most classic number 9 kind of play that sometimes I miss in the game these days.
Sure, yeah.
Do you know
who scores goals like that? Or who did?
Right.
And now he's I guess he's gone, and we have to mourn his loss. Kareem
Connor
Benzema.
Casey.
Kareem Benzema. I'm talking about worldwide, but yes, okay. Connor Casey, sure. Yes, he did that too. Yeah. Alan Gordon, Jared. Alan Gordon used to score goals. Actually, he did. Scored a lot of goals like that, Alan Gordon.
Yeah,
I mean,
Peter Crouch. But I would say, and we can make this a pick your poison for you if you like. I'll put you on the spot with this.
Oh, has it been a minute? Has it been?
It's been a minute.
Hot minute?
It's been a Bell Biv minute. Let's see. If you are going to, let's say Nations League is around the corner again, and you have a third spot available, are you going Brandon Vasquez for the Classic 9 or for Jesus Ferreira for the Swiss Army knife ability?
I'm bringing Vasquez. Yeah.
Okay.
Because look, I'm not a fan of, there's 3 minutes left and we're down a goal, lump it up. That's not, I think you should stay true to who you are and try to build. But I understand the instinct is, fire a ball up. And if Brandon Vasquez is going to go win something, or we get a little bit of space, a little overlap, get somebody to the end line, and we're playing crosses, yeah, I want Brandon Vasquez in there. Jesus Ferreira is a smart player. Right, what his ultimate level is, I think, is unclear because he probably needs to go to Europe before we're going to be like, okay, where is he at? But Brandon Vasquez right now is the choice for me.
Let me give you a second follow-up to that. Pick your poison.
And by the way, fair to say that Josh Sargent has to be somewhere in this conversation.
We'll figure that out as the season goes.
Let's see what happens if he gets
honestly,
to play
Haji Wright should be in that conversation, and we'll figure it out as the season goes. The
well,
dude's
he's not
two season double-digit scores in Europe.
Sure. I'd like to see him get a move. Can these guys all sort it out, please, so I can move on with my life?
Brandon Vasquez, Classic 9. Are you taking Brandon Vasquez or an uninjured Daryl DK for that same role?
I think I'm taking Vasquez. I think I'm still taking Vasquez.
I still think DK has a level of pace that Vasquez doesn't as an athlete.
How do you know anything enough about Daryl D? Like, how do you? It's been so stone skipping across a pond with him, and he's shown some things, and I get it. I like his potential, but that's what he is right now. Is he's potential, right?
Okay.
And
so do you think Brandon Vasquez? When we're talking about guys who suffered because of the level of people around him, is Vasquez better than what we're seeing because he wasn't getting the right service? From the players around him.
I think that
because he is very service dependent. He may be the most service dependent striker in our pool.
That is fair. You're not gonna get Brandon Vasquez scoring the goal that Fowler and Balogun did against Canada. You're not gonna get that. You're not gonna get that goal out of him.
No.
I think. I think so. I mean, my gut says yes, right? My gut says that Brandon Vasquez and the space he fills and the way that he plays needs players who can find him at a consistent level. And we didn't get that last night, right? And that's, again, he maybe needs to be more consistent and more dangerous on his own at times. I guess you need to add that. But if we're bringing him, if I'm talking about taking him to the Nations League or to some game, some tournament, some 2-game set, and I have a Balogun and I have a Pepe, give me a Vasquez for the last 10 minutes, right? I don't need him to be there for 75 doing a bunch of work off the ball and stuff. I just don't need that.
Okay. All right. So to judge the rest of the striker core, we said Ferreira's up, decent up for you, barely up for me. Vasquez.
Okay, hold on. I know we were doing like levels. He's up. That's all. I'm not putting a value on it. Not an value on it. Okay. Up in general terms.
I think Brandon Vasquez is up. I don't think he's way up, but I think he's up. He at least showed in flashes what he can do when he gets the service that he's looking for. I think Cade Cowell is overall an up, even though at times, again, like Jalen Neal, a young player that you expect to make some mistakes.
Yeah, but he's exactly
to be a finished product.
He played exactly the way that he's always played for me. He didn't do enough. I know he had one goal. And even that goal, I got a little frustrated by because it felt like he made one move too many. I know the end result matters more than the way he went about it. But until he sorts that stuff out, until he irons out the,
so you're saying flat
or
down for him?
Flat for Cade Cowell because he's not near I mean, okay,
I'm
it
still
doesn't matter.
excited
Again,
about him.
Not about the A squad. Yeah, I guess. He just hasn't even really done it with San Jose this season. Like, he had a breakout year, 2020 or whatever, 2021. I guess that was his good year. Wasn't great last year. Hasn't really as good as that team has been.
20? 19?
Yeah, 19, 20.
He's
Yeah,
got
I know.
time.
I know he does. But if he keeps getting reps, like, we're not talking about a guy who's a part-time player and then, what does he look like when he gets to be a full-time player? He's been a full-time player for a while now.
That's fair.
And it just hasn't really clicked in for him.
Unlike Jalen Neal, who's in his rookie season as a 19-year-old. Kate Cow's been around for a while as a 19-year-old.
Jalen Neal is a brand new minted starter for the LA Galaxy, and that's a bad team most of the time. So I kind of give Jalen Neal come on, stop it. I got to give him a pass as they build things up there at the Galaxy, as they start to work like a decent team. Whereas Kate Cow, I mean, look, he's been on a bad team too. So maybe that's fair to point out. And this year, they're not bad.
I think we got one name left to evaluate up front, and that's gonna be Julian Gressel. And Julian Gressel's enough for me. I don't think I didn't weigh him much at the national team level going into this. I didn't like some of his appearances for previous, but I thought, especially from a dead ball situation, very good from a dead ball situation. And I think you saw the U.S. miss that last night in the set pieces being taken.
Yeah, sure. Until he came on the field, he wasn't 100%. I mean, I guess nobody is. But
he's not Reyna.
He had some pretty weak service, but he also put some real dangerous balls in. So I give him credit for that. I mean, I think he is exactly what he is. He's a
This is a very good take here from Highbury Squirrel. Gressel keeps it simple. That's he's very German in that way. Like it's like a German engineering. Don't overdo it. Just make it good.
You're gonna get stat smacked down by our friend Nicholas Murray right now. Jalen Neal is not a rookie. He made 50 professional appearances prior to his top flight debut because he played in the lower division USL Championship for Los Dos. Jared, what the hell, man? What the hell?
Sorry, Nick. Nicholas, I apologize. I apologize, but second division soccer is not professional soccer.
Oh, damn it, man.
Kidding.
It is. And by the way, I know we've done this whole thing on the Gold Cup, and we've got to talk about Pulisic.
I bet you I can't name more than 4 second division teams.
Well, that's interesting, and I'm going to tell you why. Because according to Tom Bogert and Jeff Reuter at The Athletic, they're getting ready to vote on promotion and relegation.
Good. I hope they do it. I mean, it'd be nice if they did. But like I said, I have X amount of room in my brain, and I probably can't name 2 players for St. Louis FC.
Let's do it this way. I will give you a city, and you tell me if you can name give me like. Okay,
that's going to help me because I'm going to be able to do a reference point to it. So I think I'll do better than you think. And this is USL 1 what are they called, by the way? What are their leagues called?
USL Championship and USL League 1 . Basically,
is there another one?
Stole the brand in USL League 2, which is purely amateur. That is purely amateur. That's like the old PDL, if you know what you know the PDL.
I've heard of it.
So actually, I realized how dumb this is because so many of these teams are just FC, so there's really there's nothing to know.
I like this take from Nicholas. He just gave me big hints.
You have more. You do have more than that.
I'll say that they have good kits. They have really good kits.
Okay, Jared, you can read it right here.
Is that one still around?
Union, yes. What league?
I'm sorry,
does
they
this
fold a lot.
team,
I don't know.
Union Omaha. What league do they play in? This team.
One of the USLs.
Which one? The Championship or League 1?
I have no idea. I'm going to take 50-50 guess. Championship.
No, they play in League 1.
Okay. They got a star on their chest. You got to understand why I'm thinking that.
They got a championship right there.
All right, give me a city. Give me a city.
Okay, Sacramento. That's an easy one.
Republic.
Okay, you do know that one. That also happens to be the city of my birth. I'd be very pissed off if you didn't know. Yeah, absolutely.
You're Cali through and through.
Yeah, I bleed Sacramento Republic. Mauve? What color?
Name one player.
Crap.
Their keeper. You're trying to think of that keeper they have.
No. They've got a goal scorer. There's got a guy who's
probably be able to get one. Actually, give me another city.
Mark Briggs is their head coach. I know that. I got that one. All right, let's see. I got to rack my brain now myself. All right, Colorado Springs, Jared. What are they called? Colorado Springs.
They have a team? There's a team? Are you fucking with me?
Yeah. No, they have a team. Colorado Springs, Colorado.
I'm going to say Colorado FC.
You people in the chat, shut your mouth.
Oh, I'll close it. I have the chat closed now. I don't see it now.
What did you say?
Colorado FC.
No, they are called the Colorado Springs Switchbacks. You know what a switchback is, right?
Yeah, I know what a switchback is.
When
On
you
a
go up
mountain
Bear
trail,
Mountain.
on a hike.
Yeah, there you go.
It'd be cool if
It's
it was switchblade.
I suppose. All right, you know what? I'll stay in the state of Colorado because this one's
There's
funny.
another one?
This is Northern
Aspen?
Northern Colorado.
FC.
What do you? don't punt.
I don't know. Northern Colorado. All that's coming to my head is Buffaloes because the college team.
Yeah.
Let's see.
hate on my Buffaloes.
Northern Colorado.
You'll never get
No
this.
caps.
Okay, that's not a bad guess. I'll give you some credit. That's a reasonable guess. They are called the Hailstorm. They're called the Northern
That's
Colorado.
an indoor team, dude. Like that.
Hailstorm.
That sounds like an indoor team name.
You're right, it does, but that's what they are called. That's what they're
All right.
called.
You got another one for me?
Let me see here. Let's go down to Old El Paso, Jared. Down in Old El Paso. What are they called? El Paso. Fill in the blank.
Paso, border guard.
That's not appropriate. I don't.
Oh,
That's
I'm
not.
trying to think.
Are you serious right now?
Tejanos.
You know that's where Ricardo Pepe is from, right?
Yeah, I
He's
know.
from-
Tejanos.
No, they're not called the Tejanos. They are
That's
called
pretty badass though.
El Paso Locomotive.
For the
El Paso Locomotive.
record, I've come up with 3 better names for all these teams so far.
I don't think
Switchbacks,
I think-
Snowcaps, and
Hold on.
Tejanos.
Hold on. Switchbacks is the name. You didn't come up with
Switchblade, excuse me, Switchblade. Switchblades.
That's not better.
How is it not better? It's like greasers.
Okay. Somebody already said this one in the chat. I hope you didn't see it. Birmingham.
I know this one. You know why I know this one? Because my fantasy teams always growing up when I did MLS fantasy teams, I always wanted to, I think I've talked to you about this before. I always wanted there to be a bad boy team like the Raiders. And so
Okay.
I used to always call it, like, if I ever started a team, I'd make a bad boy team. I'd call them Black Legion FC. So I know it's called Legion.
It is called Legion. That is correct. You get it. You
Hey, Nicholas, I get a shirt from them now because I got it right. Every
don't
team I
think
get
I
right,
have
I
a-
get a shirt.
I don't think I have a Birmingham Legion shirt myself. Okay. I mean, there's a lot of SCs and FCs in there. Let me see. Okay, here's a good one. You should.
Oh wait,
know
hold
this
on. I
one.
gotta think of a better name for them though. Wait, okay, what team was that?
Oh.
Birmingham.
Birmingham.
I'm gonna say the let's see, the Birmingham.
You're gonna go alliteration, aren't you? Because
Dude, I came so close saying the Birmingham Bells. Like if it was a women's team, that would have been good. Like I think,
Sure.
or like Memphis Bell. I was kind of thinking for some reason.
Sure. Isn't there a Bells in League of Our Own? Wasn't there a Bells in the women's league of baseball? Back
yeah,
in
there
the-
was. It was the
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, I'll come back with the Birmingham. I'll have it back
Okay.
again.
Okay. Somebody's saying Las Vegas. That's an easy one. I'll give that one to you. Las Vegas.
Oh, lights.
There you go. Okay. Jared got the lights. How about again? You should know this one based on the home where some of our besties are located. Pittsburgh.
Riverhounds.
Hey, look at that! I think you're already up to
That's
like
a that's
four,
a
right?
long running team. Like I've known
They-
that's
they
been
have
around
been
for a
there
long
forever.
time.
They
It's
have
the
been
new
there.
ones. Like I know it's not around anymore. I would know Rochester Rhinos, but I know they're not around anymore. But
Right. Sadly.
but like there's ones from back in the day I would know, like Carolina Railhawks. Is that still a thing?
They are not called the Carolina Railhawks anymore. No,
Oh,
they are called
okay.
North Carolina FC because they went boring ass
God
name.
dang, I hate.
Yeah.
Why do people do this, man?
Okay.
Railhawks
How about-
is such a badass name.
I'll give you one more, and then we got to talk Pulisic. Pulisic.
I'm not doing it. I'm doing hard C.
Indianapolis. What
Oh
are they
wait, is this
called?
the indie one that what's his name from Peter Wiltz at, or was that?
Did he start? Was he at Indianapolis? Sorry, was he at Indianapolis? I don't remember.
Indy 11?
Yeah, I screwed it up. I gave you the
I
name.
knew it as soon as you started saying I knew it though. I would have got there because
Okay,
I
you
knew
would've
Peter Wilt
eventually got there?
started it, so I knew what it was.
I think you're right. I think Peter Wilt was.
Oh,
at
Detroit
Indy
is
11.
Detroit City FC.
That's right. Yes.
Okay.
Of course, they've been around for a long time.
Yeah,
Multiple
the
leagues.
ones that have
You
been
should
around
know
like 10 to 20 years, I probably know a lot of those. It's the new
that.
ones.
San
I don't
Diego.
know.
You got to know San Diego.
Loyal.
Okay, and you got
My
to
buddy
know
has a picture, the sticker on his water bottle.
Orange County, which doesn't require
Blues.
any thought.
Yeah, because that's
Well,
where all the
they're not-
Galaxy players go to.
No, they're not.
retire.
That's not what they're called anymore. They're just Orange
What?
County SC. Orange County SC.
Why do they do this, man? There's no
Oakland.
there's no flavor in this stuff. Roots.
Oakland Roots.
That's a
Okay.
badass
Hey,
name.
you know more than you think you do.
I do,
didn't
but
even-
if you had told me to think of them, I wouldn't have been able to.
I barely even dipped into the USL League One.
There's
Like
more?
I could say Greenville. You don't know Greenville. There's no way you know. That's
Oh
where John
wait,
Hart.
no, isn't that the one? Isn't that the one that Wolf designed? And he's like part of the ownership group in that or something?
No. I don't know what you're talking. I think you're maybe talking about Vermont.
Oh,
or
Vermont,
something,
probably. Maybe, yeah.
which is not a professional team.
Greenville. I'm going to say Greenville Verde FC.
Greenville Triumph, Jared. The Triumph. The Greenville, South Carolina, which is, a nice little town.
For the record, the San Diego team should be called the San Diego Anchormen. And I'll stand by that till the day I die.
I think you've said that. I think the San Diego whale vaginas doesn't work really well, so you can't go with that. It's inappropriate. All right, Christian Pulisic. I don't know what else there is to say. Right? He had his press conference. He got introduced. He's signing some autographs. He looks.
I'll do a say. Have you ever seen him in a smart suit before he moved to Milan?
I'm sure I have, but he did look.
He's a casual dude. My man had a nice fitting suit on.
Yeah, well, better than a
open collar, no tie,
tank top, and a a chain.
What, like Balogun at the Chick-fil-A?
No, he has his own pictures like that. Don't you remember? He did some modeling shots.
No, was he at a water fountain?
Pulisic. He said the right things, right? He said, I want to create a connection with Rafael Leao. He's an incredible talent. Take players on 1v1. I think I can do that same thing. So he's
vying for that left winger position.
No. I think what we've heard through the reporting is that Pioli has told him, I want to play you as a 10. So he might go through the middle. I'd be interested to watch it. If that's the plan, man, I don't think it necessarily is in his wheelhouse. I think there's less risk to the way he likes to play when he's on the wing and isolated. He's going to see a lot of double coverage in the middle. I don't think he's a pass threater. But he's not. I think you're probably underestimating his.
The dude is. Have you seen that stat where, like, since 2018, they in the top 5 leagues, he's one of only 3 players that have 500 successful dribbles. The other 2 are Vinicius Jr. and Mbappe.
I know. There was some selection by. I mean,
for sure, but still, like. The dude's a dribbler. That's what he's good at. He's good at taking guys on.
I understand that, but if he can eliminate some guys in that area, in the middle areas of the field, and play Leao in, or vice versa. I mean, again, I think the idea is maybe this will be shifting positions. I mean, Leao can pop up on the right. It happens, right? It's not just he's a left winger and he never changes from left winger, right? And I think that, look, we got to give this a chance. I understand why there's some trepidation. But obviously, Stefano Pioli is a very good coach, and he thinks that he can do it. So maybe we should just wait and see. Like, maybe we should just let it happen.
Wouldn't you love to see Zlatan with Pulisic? Because no one would let you know more what they think about whether or not he can play a 10 than Zlatan.
But by the way, took Zlatan's number. Zlatan wore 11 until he retired, and that's the number Pulisic is wearing. What do you think about double ones? What do you think about that?
I think that's my score when someone tells me to rate how good I look on a scale of 1 to 10.
Okay, sure. I guess if that's
double ones, I don't know, like 2 middle fingers. Like,
you could look. No, I mean, like.
By the way, I had this conversation with a friend the other day. Are you an old school grandma, like you stack the fingers like this? Are you like? I'm sorry, this is a grandma flipping you off in the freeway. This style right here with the fist with the finger. This is the modern bird. This is the modern bird. I'm not a fan of it.
Oh my gosh, this is a debate we had when I was like 10 years old, and we just decided that this looked way cooler than this.
No,
so I think
this is back again. The fist with one finger up, like the old lady. Where's the beef lady saying, like, you cut me off in traffic?
Are we gonna get censored on YouTube or something with this many middle fingers?
YouTube doesn't know we exist.
I do know that you're not supposed to do a V if you're from the UK. That's like the same thing as the middle finger. I don't know exactly why or what's going on there, but culture, it's fascinating. Okay. So again, we don't have updates on McKennie. We don't have updates on Adams. We don't have updates on Musa. We don't have updates on Reyna, who I think is probably staying, but
I think he's staying. Dortmund seems to say that he's going to.
Yeah.
I mean, did Andy Robinson end up signing? I know they were saying that he was about to sign an extension.
His extension, so he's
4
locked
years
down. Yeah,
and
absolutely.
Pulisic was 4 years as well. I think the rest. I think I'm interested to see what happens with Austin Trusty. Obviously, his loan with Birmingham is up. I don't think Arsenal's bringing him back into their stable there. So we'll see. I don't know if another loan is good for him or not. It probably needs to make a permanent move.
I saw, who was it? Somebody who just came up is eyeing Austin Trusty. I'm like, I don't want that. I don't want him going to a championship struggler. I want him to get an opportunity somewhere else.
Now official, Brendan Eriksson loaned to Union Berlin. That's official now.
Okay.
Union.
And by the way, there is a lot of sort of subjective reading of some comments made by national team players and various. So Landon Donovan came out and said some stuff about dual nationals. He also said that Christian Pulisic should come to MLS. Okay, I don't really have time for that. Talked about it on the radio. It's whatever. Landon is stirring the pot on television. I really don't think there's a lot to go on there. Reggie Cannon said some stuff to Hercules Gomez. I'm seeing it being portrayed as that he aired out Berhalter. He absolutely did not air out Berhalter. What he said was that, he thinks Portugal's a higher level than MLS and Berhalter's comfortable with MLS players. He didn't air out Berhalter. He just said his opinion and suggested that he thinks that Berhalter will be fine with Jesus Ferreira playing in MLS.
If that's your angle, you're going to find that in that comment.
Absolutely.
But I don't think that is the angle that's be said. But then again, that's my angle.
It's not if you go to Europe, you're a better player. Hold on. It's not if you go to Europe, you're a better player. It's if you sure, and absolutely that's true, and you can become a better player. And if Josh Sargent scores a crap ton of goals in the championship this season, Jesus Ferreira may not have any shot at all of making the A team, and that'd be fine. I'd be absolutely fine with that, sure. Right? Whatever Ferreira does in MLS, like there's not an argument that certain leagues aren't better than Major League Soccer. There's just an argument that certain positions demand that you go deep enough that there will be an MLS player who's playing at a high level.
I don't think it's arguable that the stakes are higher in Europe. Growing up,
depends. That depends on the league too. I mean, I think that training situations can usually be said to be more intense. I think that's a general rule. That's probably fair. But if you're playing in, I don't know, if you're playing in Sweden or Denmark or even Austria, like I'm not just going to be like, oh, you're so much better an option than an MLS player because you're playing in Austria. Now, if you're in the Premier League and you're getting regular minutes, okay, let's talk about that because 100% you've proven yourself to be playing at a higher level.
In terms of Landon Donovan's comments, though, like I want to believe it's just an attempt for relevance in the media scene. I can't believe that he actually thinks that's the right move to make. But then again, he's a guy who took a different path than what everyone always wanted him taking, and in the end of the day, had a good career for it, and it sounds like it was what made him happy. But I don't think he and Christian Pulisic are built the same way in that regard.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. They aren't. And I do think the pressure on Pulisic to stay in Europe is higher than the pressure for Landon Donovan to do it back when he was making his choices, right? And obviously Donovan made himself into a player that was indispensable to the national team for a very long time. And I've said that there might be an argument that in an alternate universe, Landon Donovan stays in Europe and never becomes a very good national team player because mentally he's not there. Or maybe he, flames out by the time he's 25. Like, you don't know, right? We just don't know. Landon Donovan, though, I think is pretty unique in the way that his career played out and the level to which he contributed to the national team. At this point in time, and this is not to say that MLS isn't a decent league and there aren't good players in MLS. There very much are good players in MLS. But generally speaking, if you're in one of the top 5 or 6 or 8 leagues in Europe and you're getting regular minutes at your position, I want you to be in the national team picture over somebody who's in Major League Soccer.
Yeah, I think that's completely fair. Like I said, part of Landon Donovan's job in filling 15 minutes of halftime coverage is to make you still talk about those 15 minutes after the game.
By the way, Reggie Cannon said he should have been picked for the World Cup. I disagree with that vehemently about Reggie Cannon. So
I don't necessarily disagree with it when you're talking about the person being Shaq Moore. I think Reggie Cannon is one of the best positional defenders the U.S. has, but he's not getting enough play time. He's not getting called up enough for us to make sure that we know that he's at that level. But I think for what I know about Reggie Cannon, I've said this for a long time, positionally, just defensive responsibility, he's a pretty good lockdown defender.
Yeah,
but that's not what Berhalter wants.
That's not what Berhalter wants. No, and I don't know. I mean, we argued for a change of pace center forward. We argued for a change of pace center forward and talked about the options there. Do you need a lockdown defender at fullback at various points? Maybe you do, but I think that the idea is we need sort of replacements who can do effectively what they want in the system, which is a lot of up and down the flank, right? And a lot of play back and forth. So there you go. All right, last thing here, because we've hit so many topics. Lionel Messi, he went to a Publix. He ate at a pasta restaurant. He's being Miami man.
What's a Publix?
It's a grocery store. It's a very well-beloved grocery store in Florida. They're well known for.
You're telling me that Leo Messi does his own shopping, especially first week into new country.
No idea.
No way. That is media publicity positioning. Celebs, they're just like us.
So, do you think so? I don't. So I need to see this picture. I actually haven't seen it. I have seen the video of him coming out the back door of a pasta restaurant, which looks like the owner is ushering him out, and there's still a crowd back there.
That I believe.
There were like kids holding their shirts out like
Messi
this.
likes Olive Garden.
So I don't know. I don't know if this is elevated Olive Garden or what it is. Apparently, it's a well-known
Zuppa
place.
Toscana is special.
He's getting the big time celebrity treatment in Miami, which I guess is why you would want him in Miami, right? Because that's the place. I mean, New York.
Leo Messi has a private chef. He doesn't go to Publix on his own.
Well, he did, but
I know he did. But I'm telling you, this is celebrities. They're just like us.
No, but they can be just like people want to live a normal life. Like that's the thing. Like if you think that if I had all the money in the world, I'd sit up in my mansion in the
only
Hollywood
reason I would
Hills
see him
or
doing
whatever.
this if he's testing the narrative that
why are you so cynical about this?
Let me talk. He may be testing the narrative that people like Zlatan have said over the years and Gerard have said over the years that in America you can come here and you go to out in public and no one knows who you are.
He's testing it. You think he's testing it?
Yeah, he wants to see if he can actually cook. Do you think he go to a store? Can you go to a superstore in Barcelona?
No, of course not. Of course not.
So if he wouldn't do it there, why would he do it here unless he's testing it?
There's a way for sometimes when you say celebrities are just like us.
Did he buy Pringles?
I know you live in Los Angeles or you live Los Angeles adjacent. I don't think the celebrities get out to where you are, but I know that when celebrities go out in Los Angeles, they'll put on a hat. They'll try to look dumpy and nondescript so that the paparazzi don't spot them and they don't have to worry. Like I went to the grocery store. I've seen Harrison Ford looking pretty normal, right? Walking around doing normal guy stuff. He clearly has enough money to never have to leave his house if he doesn't want to.
He didn't know where he was.
Okay, sure. But I wonder if Lionel Messi has those instincts. Like I gotta dress in a certain way. He's got pretty notable tattoos. And I think in Florida, if you're going, it's either linen pants, which would cover the tattoos,
I think you're
or
born
short.
with tattoos in Florida, though. It's not new.
Yeah. Jared, here you go. Luis is telling you that Publix has awesome Cuban coffee and empanadas.
Well, now I'm in. Well, I don't have a coffee drinker, but I like me empanadas.
Like you would if you're not a coffee drinker, you would not like Cuban coffee. It'll make your head explode. Yeah, it's
okay.
I
told you I've never drank a cup of coffee in my life?
Like rocket fuel. What?
Never drinking a cup of coffee.
What?
Not to
you
say I haven't
serious?
tried it. I've tried coffee. It was been so nasty that I've never. I don't do drugs, Jason. I don't know if you know this about me.
Okay, good for you, Jared. Good for you. No caffeine.
No, that being said, I'll slam with Dr. Pepper.
That's what I was about to say. It's not like you don't have It's not like you're some high on your horse. Like I don't do caffeine. No,
I don't do coffee. I don't do cheese.
You work
all these things are bad for you.
You consume your caffeine in worse ways than through a cup of coffee. I think it's fair to say that.
Sure.
The amount of sugar in the
it's not worse for my pocketbook. I'll tell you that.
Delivery device that you use.
Get a Dr. Pepper for 12 ounces of the DP for the pepper for $1. How much you paying for those Starbucks, man?
Your only name brand. You're not going with Dr. Spicy.
Smooth? I don't buy the Dr. Thunder.
Dr. Thunder, that's the one.
I will tell you that locally around here, Dr. Thunder is the best generic one you can get.
They're like 3 liters. They're massive. Those things are like
3 liters. Yes, 3 liters.
The top is like this big around.
Yeah. As if you need to get more out quickly of that.
That's hilarious. All right. Any other business? Let's say show business. Patreon.com/thebestsoccershow. Bonus episodes. They're very funny and very interesting and very intriguing. I promise you they are worth the price of admission. What else, Jared, in terms of business? Follow us on social.
Still have the Teespring going. We got the special Balagun. Suns Out, Balagun's out. Tea still rocking. Do we got that in the gallery where you can put that up real quick while I'm talking about it?
Sun's out, guns out.
Let me see if I can find the Falagun.
It's still for sale. And I'll tell you this right now, and this is Nick's hearing this for the first time right now, too. Nick's getting paid out of some of the the Teespring stuff. So if you want to support Nicky Soup and Salad and what he does on the show, he's not with us tonight. Rest in peace. But he's not with us. Not with us tonight. That's why the phones aren't up tonight. But might have had some summer plans. But
you know what?
You want to support Nicky Soup and Salad? Go get yourself a tank top.
It might be rest in peace after the texting situation he told us about on the last bonus show.
Oh yeah,
it might be rest in peace.
Dude got caught.
So I just put up the Suns Out, Ballot Guns Out shirt, which I have one. Jared, I don't think you have one. We got to get you one. It's a nice fit.
Yes, the last bonus show. If you get on the Patreon, go listen to the last bonus show where Nick lets you know how the form and medium in which he lets his wife know that he's ready for some action.
Okay.
I'll leave it at that. It's in the bonus show if you want to do it. And I'll tell you will be shocked at the manner in which this goes on.
You're airing the man out, and I was just referencing a funny moment in the most.
I'm just letting you know what happens. It's called a tease, Jason, a tease. Oh, and also he let us know that his kid's soccer coach may or may not listen to this show.
So, yeah, it does listen to the show.
Oh yeah,
it was the other part, which I'm not saying anything.
My bad.
It's the other part. Not saying anything about that.
Well, you're not getting it for free.
The other thing is that I am taking my Suns Out, Ballot Guns Out tank top to Puerto Rico on the family trip.
Road trip.
Heading out on Monday. We have not yet discussed how many shows I'm going to be doing from Puerto Rico.
It'll be a game time decision, I'm sure. It's going to depend if you can get the hamster in the wheel and get the internet going out there.
The internet's always a thing. It's, if you've ever been, in a Caribbean island place, there's a lot of hard surfaces. Sound is a thing. Like it's ricocheting and echoing all over the place. It's not the best. So I get very worried about that. But we might put
some scarves to soften up the walls.
Sure. I'm going to ship a bunch of scarves to Puerto Rico.
Scarf case.
It's 100. It's like 100. It feels like 100 degrees with 90% humidity. Definitely taking some scarves down there to still Puerto Rico. The other thing is, this is only an idea, but I'm so intrigued by it that I want to put it out on the main show. We talked about reacting to some stuff as a team. Me and Mr. Du Bois over here. If you have thoughts on what we should react to, please let us know. The best way to do that is comments.
You put it in the comments down below. Suggest a video, link to the video you want us to react to. Try to keep it like 7 minutes or less. Don't go crazy. Maybe 10 at the most. I've nominated U.S. soccer fans watch cricket for the first time.
I've seen cricket, but if
you watched a whole game of cricket,
we're not spending. We will
not.
No,
I'm just asking you if you've watched a full game of cricket.
No, I've watched about 3 minutes of cricket.
Well, you're going to watch 7, and that'll be more than you've ever seen before.
I've watched some cricket highlights. Those
I
are
know
fun.
jack shit about cricket, dude.
Oh, we could do some cricket. Maybe
other
we
than the word wicket,
cricket.
it's cool.
Yeah, I think that there's some.
Oh,
stuff
they have a hurler, don't they? A hurler.
Is that what
Isn't
they're
that
called?
The pitcher is called a hurler.
No, I don't think
this is the stuff we could be saying on that show right now.
He's called a bowler. He's called a bowler, Jared.
No,
not a hurler.
Isn't he a hurler?
No, he's a bowler. Absolutely, he's a bowl. They bowl. They
like
bowl the
fingers?
ball. No, they throw the ball, but they also don't bend their elbow when they throw. So it's I don't know exactly what's.
This is things we need. So
somehow you did it. I said at the beginning of the show, if you did it, I would turn the show off.
It's called a callback, okay? It's called a callback. I'm professional over here. I segue, I call back. You don't know any of these terms, and yet you have a radio show every day.
People need to watch the video show. That's all I'm going to say. They should absolutely watch the video. Jim Cotta. I don't know what Jim Cotta is. What's Jim Cotta?
Oh, that's the stuff the dude from DC Shoes that just passed away. His rally racing videos. I'm blanking. I believe that's what he's talking about. Those are fantastic.
Okay. I don't know. I've never watched Highlight. We could watch some Highlight.
Highlight's dangerous as shit.
That's what I hear. Highlight's like wild and dangerous.
Is there Highlight gone wrong? I'd be interested to watch that.
Oh, I don't know. Is that Faces of Death? I don't think I want to watch that. Okay. All right. Let us know about some reactions.
In the comments down below.
Yeah. Anything else, Mr. Dubois? Because I got to get us out of here.
That's it.
All right. We'll talk to you guys next week. I don't know. Bye.
Frisbee Golf Reacts.
Get to the chopper!
Michael freaking Arasco Fiscal!
Can I get a manager? Can I please get a manager?
The horror show.
It was there. Oh, here we go. Saucing them up. Hit them. What?
I think I'm starting to like Cincinnati.
The Sausage King of Chicago.
Oh, it's incredible! Oh, it's incredible!
WNBC. WNBC.
Go to DEFCON 2.
Who asked those questions?
Calm down, Greg. It's soccer. It's soccer.
Jay Rodius.